Here's something that I've watched happen over and over again in the fitness industry. A gym finds people, builds something real. The culture is good, the members are, everything is working. And then something new comes along. A trend, a competitor, a flashy new format, and instead of doubling down on what is already working, the gym chases the new thing. And in chasing that new thing, they lose the old thing. The people who are loyal, they feel it. The culture shifts. And quietly, one by one, people stop showing up. This lesson is not that new things are bad, by no means. This lesson is that owning something specific is more valuable than chasing everything that's popular. And the CrossFit gyms are not immune to this, not even close. Today we're talking about a niche within a niche. And if you're already in a niche like CrossFit, which is fine, but who specifically in your gym is inside that niche? That sounded a little confusing. You're already in a niche that's CrossFit, you're going to get into a more deep, specific niche. And knowing that niche is worth more than any trend you can ever chase. Full disclosure, Hyrox is going to catch some strays in this video, but that's fine. My name is Colin Charles. This is Enoch Marketing. Let's get into it. So, let's get right into what we're talking about. Own a word. In 1981, Ries and Jack Trout published a book called Positioning. And it is one of the most influential marketing books to be written, though I've said that in every episode. The core idea is simple. The mind can only hold one clear association per category. Think about it. When someone says fast food, one brand probably jumped in your head. When someone says overnight shipping, one company. And when someone says electric car, one name. Those brands own a word. One clear, specific association in the customer's mind. And Ries and Trout argued that getting there first and holding it is the entire game. They write, "It is better to be first in mind than first in the marketplace. And once you own a position, defending it is easier than finding a new one." Now, here's the part that matters for this episode. When you try to go own two words at the same time, the mind does not hold on to both. It drops both, and you end up owning neither. A CrossFit gym that tries to be a CrossFit gym and a Hyrox training facility and general fitness studio is not three things to its members. It's just nothing specific. It's nothing that inspires loyalty. It's nothing specific that gets referred. It's nothing specific that builds the following that keeps our flywheel turning. You need one word, one clear thing that your gym is known for in the minds and the people of your community. This is kind of like having the conditioner, if you will. You've seen the shampoo, conditioner, body wash, and the more things that are on that bottle, the less good at any one of those things the thing is. It's like all-weather tires. They're not summer tires, they're not snow tires, they're just okay at everything. You don't want to be a generalist. It would be better to be a specialist. In order to do that, you have to understand when to push through the ebbs and flows of the market. Seth Godin wrote a short book in 2007 called The Dip. It's a very simple idea that's built on one thing. Every worthwhile thing has a dip. It's the stretch between the starting and mastering. It's hard. It's uncomfortable. Membership softens. Growth slows. And it is exactly at this point where most people pivot. They chase something new. Something that feels like momentum but is really just an escape. Godin says that the winners are not the people who never hit the dip. They are the people who recognize the dip for what it is. A temporary hard stretch. And push through it when everyone else quits. He writes, "The dip is the long stretch between beginner's luck and real mastery. Winning means being the best in the world at what you do, and the only way to get there is to push through the dip, not around it." Gyms that started chasing Hyrox when their CrossFit numbers softened, that was when they hit the dip and blinked. And they started looking for an exit instead of pushing through. And in doing so, they gave up ground and that they spent years building. This is where Hyrox is going to catch some flack for me. I was at a CrossFit gym here in Carson, California when Hyrox was becoming a new thing and a very big thing. And all of the gyms were like, we're going to go do Hyrox now. And as a result, the members who came there for CrossFit started leaving the gyms. And as a result, all of the gyms in the area that moved to Hyrox then drew it back until the point where it essentially was one class a week if they were doing so at all. If the gyms had stayed the course and they had got specific about who they were instead of the broader, newfangled things, they would have come out on the other side stronger. Specificity wins, even when what is broad feels safer. So, Colin's thoughts. This Hyrox experiment. Again, Hyrox. I've done a few Hyroxes at this point. I'm going to call it what it is. Hyrox is a fad. And I'll tell you it's a fad because it has no variability. It is the same thing every single Hyrox you do. Even marathons, which is just running, have variations from year to year. You have new competitors. You have new trails. But Hyrox is the exact same. I digress. So, as I was saying earlier, Hyrox hit. And if you don't know Hyrox, it's a fitness competition format that I'm complaining about. That's lots of running, a few functional movements, and some timed events. It blew up fast. Started getting media attention, gyms started noticing, and they started incorporating into the gyms. Here's what happened. CrossFit gyms that have built real communities around methodology, started adding Hyrox classes to their schedule, which does make sense on paper. It's new, it's interesting, everybody wants a piece of it. However, the new format they were trying to bring a new format into a growing audience that rewarded a different type of athlete. Here's the problem. If you know anything about CrossFit, they're not the best runners. So Hyrox, which is mostly running, long runs, ski ergs, rowing, running again, it's a completely different physical demand, and honestly, it's a different culture. The Hyrox crowd and the CrossFit crowd overlap at the edges, but they are not the same tribe. So invariably, the CrossFit members walked into their gym, and the gym had basically chosen the gym that they had chosen because it was a CrossFit gym. They found Hyrox, and when they saw on the schedule, some tried it, but most people didn't like it. And then they started wondering if this was still their gym. The attendance dropped, not everywhere, but enough people noticed, and the gyms that had added Hyrox to their repertoire of classes were now managing a split identity. CrossFit members by and large felt displaced. Hyrox curious people who were not fully committed and schedule, and as a result, they were trying to serve two different masters at once. Ries and Trout called this decades ago. And when you try to own two words, you lose both. Most of these gyms eventually went back, and some kept Hyrox classes once a week as a compromise, but by and large, they had come home to CrossFit because that's who they were. That's the world that they owned in the community's mind. And the attempt was to be something that cost them time, money, and members that they had to earn back. The dip hit, they blinked, and the ones that pushed through, who recommitted to being exactly what they already were, recovered the best. And the ones still straddling both, they're still figuring it out. And this is what happens when you chase trends inside a niche you already own. You're not expanding, you're diluting. And naturally, your favorite part, why do you care? Which corner of the CrossFit world is yours? which corner of the CrossFit world is yours? So let's talk about your gym specifically. CrossFit is the niche, but inside CrossFit there are sub-niches. And each one is a different community with a different nature, different marketing, and a different ideal member. Let me walk you through 5 of them. And as I go through these, I want you to notice which one sounds most like what you have already built. Not what you want to build, what you already are building. Because that answer is probably already in your gym and you just haven't named it yet. So, maybe you're a competitor gym. That could be described as athletes training specifically for the CrossFit Open, regionals, and the games. The programming is performance first, the culture is intense. Members track everything, and if your gym produces podium finishers or your coaches talk about percentages or periodization, this might be your corner. You could have a community gym. That's a gym where belonging comes first. Performance is real, but it's not the point. The 5 a.m. class will show up in a parking lot if the building was burned down. Members know each other's kids' names. The coach remembers your birthday. If the vibe in your gym is more family than factory, this is probably you. The beginner gym. This one's specifically designed to take someone from zero to CrossFit without the intimidation. Scaled options are celebrated and not apologized for. The market says, you belong here on day one. And if you have built a culture where newcomers feel welcomed and the coaches are trained to meet people where they are, this is your corner. The Masters Gym. Programming and culture built specifically around athletes in the master class. Mobility, longevity, age-appropriate intensity. The members are not trying to look like they're 25. They are trying to feel capable for the next 30 years. If your membership skews older and your coaches understand that, lean into it completely. And naturally, one of my favorites is the military and first responder gym. Culture, camaraderie, and programming that speaks to people who have served or run towards danger for a living. Discipline is the language. A shared sacrifice is the bond. If your gym has a significant veteran or first responder membership, then that culture is already formed. You already own this corner, and you just need to say so louder, and probably buy a couple bottles of whiskey. But which one of these sounds like you? And here's the follow-up question. Does your marketing reflect that? Does your Instagram, your websites, your ads, do those things communicate the specific corner of the CrossFit world clearly enough that your ideal member sees themselves in it immediately? And if the answer is no, then there's a gap for improvement. And it's not a hard gap to close once you know which corner is yours. Double down, do not dilute. Here's the principle to take into every marketing decision you make from here. When growth slows, the instinct is to broaden, to add a program, to chase a trend, to appeal to more people. The move that actually works is the opposite. Get more specific. Serve your corner better than anyone else in the market. Own that word so completely that when someone in your community thinks about that specific thing, your gym is the only name that comes to mind. The Hyrox gyms that thrived through the period were not the ones that added Hyrox. They were the ones that got more specific to CrossFit. More specific, more unapologetically themselves. This is where the niche within the niche. Find your corner, own it completely, and stop apologizing for not being everything to everyone. Because if you appeal to everyone, and we've said this before and we'll keep saying it, you're compelling no one. So, quick recap, Ries and Trout. The mind holds one association per category. Own one word and defend it. Godin, when the dip hits, push through. Quitting what you should be doubling down on is the most expensive mistake in business. And the Hyrox story. Real gyms, real consequences, real lesson. Chasing trends inside of a niche you already own is not expansion. Find your corner of the CrossFit world. Name it, build everything around it. In the next episode, we're going to talk about the story you're telling without knowing it. Your brand is communicating something right now, whether you are intentional about it or not. We're going to figure out what it is. Subscribe. Share this with a gym owner who needs it. Drop questions in the comments. I read every one of them. Visit us at Enoch Marketing, Instagram, and if you want help finding your corner and building a marketing system around it, book a call with us. I'm Colin Charles. This is Enoch Marketing, and we'll talk to you soon.